For me to be high level at my craft, I can't be interrupted with business or family or any type of extra stressors. That whole like, wake your ass up mentality came from that.
Welcome to the Braddog Media Show with your host, Cory
What's going on, guys? Brady Hester here, host of the Braddog Media Show. Today we welcome Cory Gregory. He's a guy I've been looking forward to getting on for quite a while now. He co-founded Musclepharm. He now owns Max Effort Muscle. He's somebody I've looked up to for almost 10 years now in the fitness space. He grew up wanting to get involved in fitness, didn't exactly know what that would look like, but as we talk about in the interview, he just took things one step at a time, going from coal mining to his personal training studio to then co-founding one of the bigger supplement brands in Musclepharm, then getting into the content game. He's a guy that essentially now can get involved in whatever he wants just because he's built that credibility and his personal brand is so strong. He's somebody that those in their late 20s, early 30s really looked up to in the fitness space. He's an OG for us, which we talk about in the interview a little bit as well. Man, it was awesome getting him on the show. He brought his energy, went full Cory G, and I'm excited for everybody to hear it. Now, if you're enjoying this podcast, please like and comment, and if you could subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. I have future big guests coming on, and I don't want you to miss them. And without further ado, please welcome Cory Gregory. Cory Gregory, welcome to the Braddog Media Show.
I'm excited to be here, man. Can't wait to rock. I got something for you today, boy.
Oh, no. All right, let's do it. Man, so I've been following you for almost 10 years now. I mean, I remember early Musclepharm days. I was seeing you on bodybuilding.com, you know, showing everybody how to get jacked. So it's pretty surreal to get you on today, and I'm excited.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you what. How old are you, Brad? Bradley,
27.
Right? 27.
Yeah.
So it's so interesting that your age group was so impacted by that content that was paying attention that now I have a whole host of guys between like 25 and like early 30s that are now reaching back out as professionals and saying, look,
Right.
G, you helped me develop, you know, with the free workouts and telling us to lunge and learn and the books that you was talking about. And now I'm in this position at this company or have this show, and they say the same thing. And so what I never even realized, right, is the impact I was having on that age group, which was pretty much college age kids at the time because of our marketing, has now swung around. And it's been just amazing to then hear that little piece that maybe I played in that. You know what I mean? And that's really where the oxygen comes from, man, is that the things that I'm doing currently and have done for all these years have played a part in some type of motivation or development. That's really the human part of it's really where I think drives me more than anything. I've always wanted to have nice stuff and be a successful business guy because I was kind of poor growing up. But the reality is the things you remember is not really the stuff. It's really the things that like you just shared like that. You know, it's cool.
Yeah, man, that's so interesting. I guess you probably thought you were having more of an impact just on the fitness side, but yeah, I mean, I learned so much when it comes to work ethic, motivation, just the consistency day in, day out. And those are things that apply to everyday life. You know, it's not just fitness.
Yes. And I've started to realize that was starting to happen a couple years in. I was like, wait a second, these guys are really locking on to how I operate.
Right.
And that became very gratifying, that I could say, all right, I'm in fitness. That's why you came here. But what I'm teaching you is actually a different way to operate in life. You just didn't realize that when you was coming to get my bicep workout. You know what I mean? So that has been something that I understood decently early. And as people come to me even today for the site, I realize they're coming because they want to lose 20 pounds, but they don't really realize what I'm about to teach them. And now I'm intentionally understanding that's what I do. And it's very impactful, man. It feels good, feels right, it feels natural. But I'm also teaching hard work. And a lot of people ain't really about that. And a lot of people are about that. So am I teaching a way you can hack this or do whatever and live a lifestyle? And I am, but it's all based around not some like bullshit. It's like shit you don't want to do or you need to go through. And I think like, I'm proud of that because I'm not teaching some like sideways way to it. I'm teaching you that's possible, but you do got to put some real work in,
Yeah, man, that's so cool. And kind of speaking of that, like, creating an impact that, you might not have even been aware of in the first place.
For sure.
I'm curious, like going back to your starting days, and I don't want you to have to repeat your story, like you've done a bunch
Yeah,
of times, but to summarize for everybody who, hasn't heard real quick.
sure.
So you spend some time, coal mining to be able to save up to get a personal training studio.
Yep.
And, kind of in those early stages, I don't think I think you've, talked about this before where you didn't have a vision of necessarily supplements or into that world at first. I'm
Mm.
curious what your original vision was and how
Entry
you
point.
kind of adapted and grew into that.
Yeah, it was entry point, man. Like I think a lot of people, especially, you got to remember, I had like no internet. I'm
Yeah.
reading muscle magazines. No one I grew up around lifts weights for their job. They think it's like fucking phantom. Everyone's a coal miner or steel worker, as was I for a period of time. Like you mentioned, I was a coal miner for about 5 months to save money to move to Columbus. And it was, man, it was just one of those things where in the early days, I was just so focused on trying to like get out of my situation and fucking push to be something that I could just really enjoy because like everybody I was around just didn't like what they did. And if they did, they were just so beat up because of so many years of such hard labor. And I just did not want to like live that way. I think it was partly because I was tired of watching my mom struggle. I needed to understand the work ethic from coal mining. I wanted to experience it. And I just knew like there was a period of time where I worked 70 to 90 hours a week. I saved my money with a purpose to get to the next spot. To get to the next spot allowed me having some money, being able to go to a 1-year program for school and start to learn how to personal train. The entry point was this: can I actually have a job where somebody goes, here's $25, teach me how to lose weight, do bicep curls, whatever. At that point, which happened to me, I remember it plain as day. This lady named Irene, 60 years old, overweight, nurse. The other guy that I trained with didn't want to deal with her. He said, you can have her. She said, here's $200 for 10 sessions. I want to come see you twice a week. At that point in time, I was like, somebody paid me the same amount of money that I was shoveling coal to do something I love. Now, how do I have 20 more Irenes, 40 more Irene? Like once I understood, I was like, that is my entry point to this life. People want to walk in to what I do now. Does not work that way. You have to, the entry point's the key. Then comes the growth. And I've always wanted to lift weights and get paid, but it's looked wildly different over these last 20 years. That's a fucking fact. Wildly different, and will continue to as I get older. So it's like, but I think people got to be focused on how do I just get in the game? Get in the game, make it what you do. Like I had so much gratitude for that, for Irene, that I was like, it's going to fucking work, or it could work. You know what I mean? And I think the hope of that was real, where it really was for me. So yeah, the aspirations of, dude, building what I've been able to build or experience I've had, the people I've worked with, not a chance, bro. There's no way I could even conceptualize that would be even possible from my situation where my mom could barely pay our rent in our trailers, $150 and the damn roof's falling in. It's like, you can't, you really can't grasp it. But what I could grasp is the entry point, and then let's figure out what's next.
Man, that's interesting. So do you think it's kind of a problem when people focus too much on that big end result, and not just that next step? Because, you hear people like say have this big vision, this big dream, but then, it's kind of hard to picture, jumping there. You can really only look for the next step, right?
Yeah, you can't jump there. So could you see somebody, and like, I think the visualization part was really hard for me because I have all the resources you guys got. I mean, I only really could look at muscle magazines, and that's not a lot of resources, right? And they're feeding you whatever they want to feed you, right? There's no YouTube, there's no nothing. So
Sure.
I think now you can have a little bit more vision towards like, okay, there's a YouTuber that's into fitness. There's what Cory does. There's what, like, I think that you can have where I'm going to get to, but I think the problem is that people think it's going to happen tomorrow. And you got to remember, this was like until MP came around, which I would say is my first major opportunity. I was 30 years old, bro. I had been in business almost 11 years for myself, honing my craft, making mistakes, getting little wins, building with no social media. No one knows who I am. You can barely find my gym. I'm the only one that motherfucking believes in it. Me and my wife. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you don't have to go through that maybe, but I think that's where people start to get depressed, start to not think they can get there because they're trying to do me now. It's impossible. I had a monster that I built. I've had countless hours of practical application, competing, living it, testing. I've literally worked with the smartest people that have blazed industries. Louis Simmons, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mario Di Pasquale, Dr. Serrano, fucking John Bros, like people that were there first to do, I learned from personally. So like I spent the time to go immerse myself with the best practitioners and then learn the business alongside. So like you can't replicate what I do now. It is a process if you want it to this level. It's just not possible. So that I think it's the expectation has to be in check. The aspirations have to be there. But everyone's a contender before they're the fucking champion. You have to be in the game. You can't be like, well, I'm only getting in the game if I jump to, third base. It don't work that way. I had to fold towels and work the desk before I could take the client. I had to take the client no one wanted before I could get the client I wanted. I had to get a rep before they could drive to me and feel me driving to that. Like, there's a process to this. You just don't get to skip steps. And if you skip steps, a lot of times you're not ready for the next step. You can't see the next step. You're not able to even operate in the next step. But as I was able to and took those chances that were calculated, I felt like then I was able to push my career forward. And, that's just been my process all these years, man. That you just can't leapfrog stuff.
Yeah, no way. And you're a perfect example of this. But I feel like all those years of, working within the industry and, testing different things out is that foundation. And if you skip all these steps and get put in some power position, I mean, you don't have that foundation. So, what's this even built on?
You can't talk on nothing. Like if people came to me and asked me about certain things, I've experienced them, tried to be around somebody that did it at an extremely high level. I immerse myself in, and if I don't know about it, I'm not going to talk on it, but I can talk deeply about a lot of things in our industry because I lived it. Oh, you want to talk about being a sponsored athlete? I had a 2-year deal with Reebok as an athlete. You want to talk about sponsoring a sports federation? I was a main sponsor in the UFC. I worked with GNC. I did content. So like I've lived on all these sides. That's not to fucking say I'm the fucking best thing ever. I'm just saying I was in the game understanding it on purpose. So then when I was in the game all the way on my own again, I would know exactly what to do. And that's what I've done. So I just think that skipping steps because you want to look cool on IG is never going to fucking work because it's all fucking front. And I'm telling you the hard shit to do. You don't want to hear it. Not you, but metaphorically, people don't want to hear that. You know what? I got those abs because I lunge 800 meters every day. What the fuck? Yeah, it's fucking hard. And I got up at 305 for like years. It's like, but they want to hear something else. Motherfucker, I ain't got nothing else to tell you. I have a vision. I have goals. I wrap stuff around it and I fucking work. And I'm not special. I don't miss. I just fucking keep riding, bro. And I'm willing to do things that most of the other population isn't willing to do. And I'm willing to do them for a long period of time. It's the coal miner lunchbox mentality of I will wear you out and you're going to give up because I'm not planning on giving up anytime soon, because I'm going to outlast a motherfucker to get to my goal. And while you're sleeping, I'm working. And while I'm sleeping, you're sleeping. You see what but while you're sleeping, I'm still working. So, and I'm not afraid to be me. I double down on myself. I know who Cory is. A lot of people don't know who they are, bro. And that also, I'm not trying to be someone else. That's not me. I'm being me. I'm a weird mix of all kinds of worlds, but that's just who I am. And every time I've doubled down on that, it's worked for me. So knowing unique when you're unique, that's a separator. I don't want to be like every other motherfucker. Never wanted to be. Always thought I was different. Told myself I was meant to do big things. No, if I was lying to myself or not, I've expected, because of the work, to yield a certain result. What that result is to be determined, but I put myself in these positions in a calculated way to have a chance to win, man. Not just hope for a chance to win.
Yeah, exactly. Man, that's gold right there. And it's crazy because, going back to just the day in, day out consistent work, it's almost like people don't even believe, like, no, there must be some secret. What is it really, And it can't be that simple. You can't just do lunges every day. That's too simple. There must be some crazy workout how
Yeah.
you get those abs, right?
I think you got to step up though when it's time, right? I think even in that case, I've had to say, okay, I'm on a clock for a show. I'm on a clock for a meet. I'm on a clock for when it was the magazine stuff was a thing. I'm on a clock for a business. Like, I'm in a meeting with an idol and I got to go in there and get it done. So I have been able to step up when it's needed, but I really believe it's because the foundation of the confidence had been built, because I felt like by those time frames I was meant to be in that spot. It was not by accident. I had earned the right of that man's time. I had earned the right to pitch to be this guy or potentially get that deal, or these amount of views or these opportunities. I've been in a room a couple times recently based around podcasting, and I believe that's kind of my next thing, is a bigger platform and more eyeballs. And I'll be releasing something soon I'm super proud of. And it's like, I kind of expect it to work because I done put all the reps in and I had the ideas and I brought it to the table, and I want to get a chance. Like, I'm telling motherfuckers, put me in the game, because I know what I do. I just need a chance. But you can't just say, I need a chance. I need a chance. I keep producing. I keep producing. I keep producing. Eventually somebody is either going to give you the chance or you build your own house. But you build your own house in the meantime, and then maybe they attach you to a bigger house. But that's really what I was doing with supplements. No one would give me a chance. So eventually I decided to build my own house.
Yeah, man. I feel like, I'm kind of in the same boat, It's like, I kind of look for these opportunities, and it's like, maybe I just build something myself and show everybody how it's done,
It's facts, bro. It's what I did. And what I've been doing the whole time is get my own media reps. That's why I say yes to all these podcasts that people reach out. Just as long as they stay on me, I'll do them. You know what I mean, with my schedule, because I like it. It's reps in the game, bro. Like, you can't, like, you need that. It helps me to be on the mic. I love producing 4 or 5 shows a week on the app. 4 years of Business and Biceps, years of the MP Nation thing before that. We did one with Maurice with 13 to Prez before. Like, it's looked so many different ways. And I've been guests on tons of shows and WWE podcasts and over at Barstool. And, just because the reps are huge, man. And then, if this is what I want to do, what it is, I believe I can be a media personality to some degree in my niche and get unique interviews. There'll be that spot, or you just continue to build it and it'll pop because it's of a relentless nature, which is how I operate. So I've just seen the process continue to work. And once again, if you're willing to do it and believe in it, there's a quote from Abraham Lincoln that I'm about to get tattooed on my ass. And it's actually going to be a super sick tattoo. It's
Literally?
actually, yeah, it's not on my ass, but on me. And it's like, it's actually an outline of my trailer I grew up in. And it has the Abraham Lincoln, and it's I have a word for word in front of me, but it's about to believe the unseen is where it's at, because like anybody can believe something they can touch and feel.
Right.
To believe the thing that is the unseen is where it's all at. And all these years I've believed in things I couldn't see, but I had to make true. I really believed them. I felt them. I thought they would happen, at least the entry point, the things I could conceptualize, right? At the times. I couldn't conceptualize working with Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I could conceptualize getting to Columbus and having my own gym. You know what I mean? Like then those things matured over time. But I've always believed and built confidence and then went and produced and then was willing to do what it took to get to the next spot. And the reason why I don't stop is because it just keeps working. So it's like, like why would you change it if it just keeps working? And no matter how hard it is or difficult, I just know really what it's going to take because I've already been living it for so many years. I mean, I've been an entrepreneur since 1999 is when I started my first LLC. Never had a job, bro. Like the
Amazing.
jobs I had were because they were my own businesses and I gave myself a job. So it's like one of those things where I've figured it out for all this time and I just continue to double down on the process and, kind of massage it and take things in and add things and subtract or whatever. But it's kind of, that's not what everyone wants to hear. Like you said, they want some fucking thing. They think that I've got some secret sauce. Secret sauce is I'll outwork motherfuckers and I always have something I'm working towards.
Right, definitely. And so another thing I'm super curious about, obviously you had the MP days, Musclepharm, and then, you're in this transition to max effort. What are some of the things now that, are a little more unique and I feel like, you're able to be a little more hands-on,
For sure.
with max effort. How has that transition been and what are, some of the big upsides of, working?
Oh man, it's been awesome and I'll tell you why. I did everything I wanted to do with Musclepharm from a retail standpoint, meaning like I wanted to be a wall at GNC. I wanted to be on every website. I wanted to sell in all these countries. I wanted to be the big player, which we were for a period of time, no question. One of the biggest, I would say. But then it was like, not really. I'm not a meeting about meetings guy.
No.
It's just not me. That's not how I operate. That's not my life. I definitely enjoy more of the building part of it, the vision, thinking about something and then it comes to reality and a million people buy it. You're just like, fuck. Like that's what I like. And I like the interaction. So I like that when I go to the warehouse and I'm helping pack orders because we had a big deal that I noticed some of the names on the fucking sacks, bro. I like that we did something different because it was really hard not to be an MP knockoff. I'll be honest with you. That thing was so gangster, especially towards the end where it looked like Nike, essentially. It was really hard to, be so different and then it work again in its own right. And the experience of running a retail top line company, because that's what that was. Top line push. And then to run a direct to customer, top line's quality, but bottom line's super healthy. If you swap those worlds, bro, the valuation would have been absurd on MP, but it wasn't ran that way because it was grow. So organic growth, quality stuff, uniqueness. So I really have had a fun time. I think MP it was roughly from 2008 to 2015. We started this like early 16. Now we're what, 20, almost all the way through 20. So, 5 to 7 years in each way has been, I think as a businessman, taught me a lot. And yeah, the upside is I think there's just not all the bullshit in between. I don't deal with vendors. The world's changed. Actually, I believe people buy on personality, more on brand a lot nowadays, unless the brand's been around and massive. So yeah, I think it's worked in our favor for how things are, for how we are as a brand and how I am personally working with the customers. It's more how I operate. That's why I like my site so much and my app. I like the interaction. I like people that are serious. I want to help people that want to be helped, man. And I think that's where I get a unique opportunity to kind of, really exchange thoughts and processes and I don't know, really get down with the customer different than probably most.
Yeah, totally. I see that and it's amazing to watch, man. And
Thanks.
I mean, going back to personal branding, It's crazy. I mean, honestly, I got into Musclepharm because of you, right? So now you move into a new thing, people follow you. It's crazy
Correct.
how that works, Is that something you expected?
Yeah, so I expected a percentage of it for sure, and I'll tell you why. I knew with my craft how much free information I had put out during the Muscle Farm days that it had got an astronomical amount of results for a lot of people. So I didn't know exactly, but I had an idea of the impact and how my skill set was an intangible that other businesses didn't have. So I knew when I would go back on my own, essentially, because it was on my own, then it got big, and then I felt like I was with everyone else, and I kind of go back on my own, that I would then be able to replicate with the Cory G Fitness side, the workouts, and with a more personal touch, and then replicate what SKUs I knew was needed to help support people that had goals. And I knew that they were buying essentially me and what I had helped them with. And so I really think that it's underestimated how valuable that is. And I've constantly in my career had people misunderstand that
Mm.
big time. Private equity guys, people that were investing money back in the day, even people understanding the valuations. They just don't understand that piece, man, because they can't conceptualize. Even like when I tell people what I do, when I'm around town with my kids or whatever, like a lot of people aren't like heavy into fitness. They don't know what I do and they kind of see the way I operate. I don't like obviously have like a 9 to 5 job and I'm kind of at all the stuff for my kids and I'm just available. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a fitness entrepreneur. And I try to like explain to them like I have supplements, but I was like, really what I think good at is, and want to be great at, and I'm getting close because I've had so many hours at it, I think is like programming, workouts, uniqueness, keep people's interest, get results. And when I tell them like we have members in 100 countries, it's hard for them to even conceptualize because they don't know the backstory of like the squad every day had 100 million page views on bodybuilding.com.
Yeah.
Get Swole had 28 million page views on bodybuilding.com. The Blueprint, which I wrote with Arnold, had a bazillion fucking page views.
Oh, yeah.
Even back to the Busy Diet days, had like 30 million page views. Like they don't realize the concept of that many people in India and Ireland and the UK and the US were consuming this information at a level that I don't even know I all the way understood at the time because I was just doing what I do. And it just worked really well because it was authentic. And so that when I try to explain to people like the sheer magnitude, that's why it's hard to jump to where I'm at because all that other stuff had to happen. And I had to create the relationships like with guys like yourself for them to even feel a way to showcase that they want to support the next move. And I'm sure I'll have other moves. I'm not even close to being done. So somebody could buy the businesses I got now and I start other ones. And if I continued that process, people will continue to feel that way because they know I'm different. And I really believe that it's hard to copy what I do because it's authentic.
Yeah, that's gold, man. You're spot on. That's amazing.
Thanks, man.
Fitting, you're wearing your old school 4 a.m. crew shirt or hoodie today.
Yes, sir.
Man, it's amazing you've been able to keep that up, as big as you've gotten. You still stick to your roots. You don't have to get up at 4 a.m. and get to the gym.
I'm reminded that often by people.
But it's amazing, you're still going in daily. I'd love for people to hear, what's your reasoning for that? Why are you still, putting in that work that early every day?
I think that there's a couple things. One, people think I designed it because I wanted to sound cool. Not a fact. I used to work out at 7. Then I started working out at 6. Then I work out at 5. And then one of my really good training partners got a different job and had to come at 4. So I was like, fuck it, I'll come at 4. And then here's at 5, there's only 5 people. At 4, there's like 30. It's because no one's rushed. No one's kids are awake. No one's wives are awake. No one really cares where they're at. It's a quality time that you're not on your phone. You're just there to lift fucking weights, bro. In any time past 6 a.m., you run the risk of being interrupted. It's just the truth, especially if you have kids and a wife and a job and social media and all those things, right? And I realized there was a couple things. It weeds out all the motherfuckers that ain't serious. Because if you ain't serious, here's what happens. People come for a little while. They think they're cool. They put in their bio. Then they can't quit going to the bar. And then they keep missing things. And then I'm just like, then they basically kick themselves out. I don't even got to kick them out. And then they go talk shit. And it's really not about me. It's really about them. It maybe that isn't what they wanted for their life. I'm cool with that. But it has nothing to do with the training. It has nothing to do with the mentality. It has everything to do with your own insecurities and can you get out of fucking bed and be this disciplined? Because that's what it takes. And it's not for everybody. So there's a couple things. I realize there's a respect to it. Anybody that hears it thinks you're crazy. Louis Simmons told me crazy people give them crazy results. Average people give them average results. Motherfucker, I ain't never been average. I've never expected average. I never wanted to be average. And so if I believe that that's part of the special sauce that makes me different and more zoned in quality, bro, I'm listening to a half hour, 40 minutes of personal development on the way to the gym. I'm training from 4 to 5:30, 5:45, listening to a half hour on the way home, listening to it while I'm lunging. I done train for an hour and a half. I listened to an hour and a half of audio material, and it's not even 6:30, 7 o'clock. And you do that for 300 miles of lunges, years of fucking time. How could you not be better? And the discipline that you have to wrap around it to even be able to be there at that time. So is there a lot of sacrifices that go along with that? There is. But is the sacrifices worth it because of the yielding result? Once again, could people do the same thing I did and work out at 7? I'm sure they can. But is it respected as much as why I think it's even a thing and why it's worked because of the discipline around it? I think it's lightweight crazy. And that's why I believe it's worked. And the people that I've seen come through, it's not on accident that they're also successful in their lives, in their jobs, getting promotions, building businesses. It's not on accident. I didn't get here on accident. It's all by design. And when I explain that, well, fuck, I ain't trying to get up at 3 a.m. Cool. I'm cool with that. I'm not telling you have to. But guess what? If you get up at 6, why not try at 5? Think that extra hour all year will make a difference? I guarantee it'll make a difference. So there's a different level of focus. It didn't come like that originally, but I know it's a separator. And at the end of the day, like I'm going to a place that is to do something I absolutely love to do uninterrupted. So I would do that at any time if that's the time it happened at. And that's what it requires for me to compete, for me to be high level at my craft. I can't be interrupted with business or family or any type of extra stressors. I'm there to lift fucking weights as Cory Gregory, the guy who wants to lift weights. That's what I do. And so that whole like, wake your ass up mentality came from that. Telling people, quit being fucking soft, separate yourself, and you know the next guy or next person probably isn't willing to do it. But once again, the trend of how I got here is because I am, and these guys are, and a lot of people on the website are, and then they always see the next level of separation in their job, in their work, whatever it is. It just continues to happen. So I continue to do it.
Awesome, man. And there it is, the call heard around the world.
Wake your ass up!
There it is.
Yeah, and it's funny is
Man.
because there's been some this guy named Russ Swole that's really big on social media.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm sure you know Russ,
Yeah, I
right?
do.
He hit me up, right? I was like, just messaged him, started following him a couple years ago. And I was like, yo, bro, like loving the powerlifting. He's like, gee, you don't even realize, man. I was at Texas A&M, same age. I was watching the Wake Your Ass Up shit on Snapchat,
Yep.
bro. He's like, I was vibing with it. He's like, I'm an OG. I've been paying attention to you for a minute. So a lot of the younger cats have shown love to me. I don't feel like I'm an OOG yet, but I'm like in that area. It's heading that direction. I'm in that spot. It's getting there. And the respect I've got from the industry because of my staying power and because I've impacted some of the younger dudes coming through, even like a guy like Christian Guzman. I was in Australia big into the squat every day stuff before his stuff popped. And he was on a squat rack. We were both at this event And all these motherfuckers kept coming up to him. And I'm thinking, who the fuck is this dude? I don't even know. I walk over, I said, man, whatever you're doing, bro, like, and I didn't know whether he was American, Australian. I hadn't talked to him. And he was like, yeah, he's like, I started this YouTube. It's starting to do really good because I knew who you are, Mr. Gregory. You want to get in here and squat. Let's go. And you can squat with me. And I was like, dude, great. And then I started paying attention to him. Watching that dude's career is wild, bro. He's way more mainstream than I ever got. You know what I'm saying? From a standpoint of personality, like he's been able to like just crush it with the YouTube stuff. It's been amazing. But there has been, a lot of respect that's been shown for kind of the things that I've done in the industry, which it always makes you feel good. And the impact is really the true like thing I'm the most grateful for, because I just never knew when I was going into that entry point that it was even possible to reach this amount of people worldwide. It's staggering still to this day that it's happened like that for me. I talk about this all the time. I feel a ton of gratitude every time I walk in an old school gym, and it's the gym that I've wanted my entire life. And I drop my keys on the table and I know it's mine and Dustin's, and which is my high school weightlifting friend, right? And also an amazing trainer. And then I come home from that experience of having a team. I have practice, it's 4 a.m. I have team, fucking savages. I call them petri dish of savages, what they are. Some of the strongest, baddest, biggest drug-free motherfuckers you'll ever find. We compete together. That's our game day, right? We have a squad. Then I come home and I see how my life is, and I have an immense gratitude that it was even possible, that it happened. And I'm just very thankful every day when I turn the corner, coming home to where I live from where I used to live in the trailer and going through all that kind of stuff. Bro, I just live in a lot of like, I can't believe it happened. I know why it happened, but I can't believe it happened. And I'm just very thankful.
That's amazing, man. You're just always focused on that next step, right? So, it's hard to picture what's 10 steps ahead.
It's impossible. And that's why I don't have a 5-year plan, because my life changes so dramatically quarter to quarter, year to year, how I feel, things I want to do, aspirations I have. It just changes. Media changes, supplements change. There's just a lot of change always. And I thought I learned this from Musclepharm. I poured everything into that, man. And I thought it was forever. I just thought it was forever because it's so fucking big and it works so good. And everything has its expiration, bro. It's just what it is. Same with Business of Biceps. Great project for 4 years, tons of value. But John and I have grown apart to do some of our own things. Everything has an expiration. It's interesting and kind of like, I don't want to say pessimistic to think that way, but it's just kind of reality. People change and aspirations change. And so I've went through a lot of that in my career. So there's been a different version of Cory, but he's the same dude who just wants to lift weights and get paid. Just looks different from time to time. That's all.
Right. Some things never change.
For sure. That's one of them.
So yeah, last thing I'd like to really hit on here, Business and Biceps kind of came to a close. So, I know you do some other, shows and podcast relating things, but what's kind of the next step when it comes to the media space?
Yeah. So great question. I've got something that's like term sheeted out right now. I can't speak on. Really proud of it. Super excited about it. I'll tell you what I am excited about though too. The amount of information I've put on my platform, on my own app, we are executing. I continue the daily fires because people love those. They're 3 to 5 or 7 minute podcasts, mini hitters. I do 2 of those a week on Cory Fitness app. I have the round table, which is a bunch of different type of topics, but it's amazing because I got a guy, Danny, is 29, Trey's about to turn 21, Cole's 23, and then I'm the OG in the 40s. We're all at so many different stages of our lives that when a topic comes up, it's like, you're just out of college. You're still basically should be in college, but you're an entrepreneur. You're like white picket fence level at 29, about to get married. I got a kid in high school, so it's like very interesting. And we've had great feedback on that. Then I have my interview show, which is the Gcast I put out once a week. And I've had everybody from Gary Player to Beanie and Boom to guys from the industry. I'm about to have CT. I reached out to a bunch of my contacts from back in the day, and it's been great. So I'm producing 4 or 5 shows a week on my own platform, which I look at like my own Netflix. And then I'm in the process right now with a pretty major player to sign a deal for another public podcast which will be interview based. And I don't think anybody will see it coming. So I'm pretty excited.
It's crazy. And if, you're looking for a spinoff to Business and Biceps, I think Braddog and Biceps would be a great show. So
there it is.
We'll have to talk about that one.
You know what? There was a lot of really good value on that show, man. I mean, for years, right? And then when Maurice was there for a while, it was great value. But here's the reality of it. 3 alpha dogs, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Then 2 alpha dogs. It's hard to manage. And every one of them guys will say the same thing, right? Something I probably did or they did. We got an astronomical amount of quality material while the band was together. And, it's there forever. So I'm super proud of what that show achieved, topping the charts, great sponsorships. But I'm really looking forward to my crack, let's call it, at more mainstream media because I feel like it's what I'm supposed to do. And I feel like I've put enough reps in, similar to the gym in a way, that I want to give myself a chance to see if I'm really cut out to do that. And I really believe I am because it feels supernatural to me after all these years. And I just know the impact on what you can say on this mic, very similar to what I was doing earlier in my career, just a different way to kind of get it out. And so, yeah, that's very interesting to me. I would say that creating content and doing podcasting is my second favorite thing to do after lifting weights. But over the years, they've started to get closer in line with each other because of the impact so different. And as I get older, I'm not saying I'm done competing, but it gets harder to stay, healthy. And it gets also harder to keep pushing yourself. There's only you only have so many fucking reps, bro. It's just a fact. Like John Bro said something to me. He goes, at some point, the number's the number. That's it. You have your bench number, you have your squat number, you have your at some point, it's the number. And you have to be okay with that. And I'm not all the way okay with that yet, but I know that there is that possibility. And so I have to find something else that I can teach, do at a high level that doesn't have to do with lifting weights. That's always my base. That's never going to change. But like I really want to push myself in an area I believe I have talent in that doesn't have to do with the barbell. So it's created by the barbell. But I think that's where the media interests me because it feels similar and right, I guess.
Yeah, man, I totally can see it. You've been on all these other shows I've, listened to as well. They're a little more mainstream, Theo Vaughn, the Barstool show.
Yeah.
So, man, it feels natural for you to step in and, get your voice out to more people. So I'm excited for that.
I think it's time to get the crazy out even more, bro. You know what I mean? Like I'm looking forward to that. And I just really feel blessed that that's even a possibility. You know what I mean? That it can be a great revenue source. It's fun. I feel like it can be impactful. There's a lot of really good opportunities and it's exciting. And it shows my kids that, if they came to me today and said, I want to be a YouTuber, I would believe them because it's possible.
Yep.
Why isn't it? Like dad makes money on the internet. I have for years and I'm a personality per se. Like, that's what they're kind of used to. And it's not traditional. It's more traditional now than it's ever been. But the reality is I've been doing this stuff for a long time. And so it's exciting, man. That's why I enjoy being on everybody's show because, it's more reps. It gets me excited about the aspirations on the other side of the camera. And then to voice my new stuff, it's cool.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. I appreciate you coming on today. It's been crazy, super cool to speak with you finally after all these years. What else can people look forward to from you?
Yeah, I think, really check me out. I believe we're offering an astronomical value at corygfitness.com because I think the reality is I priced it at $8.99 so the younger guy could afford it, right? Because that was my demo, 100%. But the value of what I just explained, besides the 5 years of the Get Stacked plan, day one, 1 million videos, articles, new podcasts, it's like my own Netflix of 20 years of knowledge. It's all in there. And we continue to execute quality content at a high level every week, multiple pieces a day, and the interactions there. So like and now Apple's starting their own. I mean, like people are getting onto it, but I've been doing this since 2015. Right. So, if you're really like, you know what, I need a change. I need a change in mentality. I need a change in my body. Come over and really dive in and learn what we do. And by the way, it costs about what your Chipotle burrito costs, or probably what you spend on chewing gum in a month. I got there, and the value is there, and the interaction's there. And so I'm super passionate about that. So yeah, just come over to the website, and then the supplements are maxeffortmuscle.com.
Awesome. Everybody go check him out. Cory Gregory, thanks so much. This has been great.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.